Like the biblical Hadassah, we are the hidden ones. We stayed quiet. We tried to stay safe. We learned that silence was safer than truth, and we didn't have words for what happened. We thought something was wrong with us. But Hadassah didn't stay hidden forever, and neither will we. I'm Debra Schaefer, and this is where hidden voices come into the light. Real women, raw stories, and proof that you're not alone. This is your invitation to be seen, to be heard, and to finally exhale. Your story matters, and it might just be for such a time as this. This is the Hadassah Files. Hey, it's Debra. I want to introduce you to someone today. Actually, you already know her. You've been listening to her story in every episode I've recorded. When I say friend or beautiful soul, I'm talking to her. When I describe the weight of religious trauma, the exhaustion of performing faith, the loneliness of carrying questions you can't voice, I'm describing her life. Her name is Hadassah. And today, for the first time, I'm going to pull back the curtain and let you really meet her. Because I have a feeling her story might sound familiar. In the book of Esther, there's a woman whose story has echoed through thousands of years. Her name was Hadassah, which means myrtle tree. Before the Persian world renamed her Esther, meaning star. And I want you to hold on to that name for a moment, myrtle tree. The myrtle is a small, fragrant evergreen that stays green and beautiful even in the hardest climates. It thrives after drought. It blooms after damage. It's resilient, quietly, persistently resilient. In Jewish and Christian tradition, myrtle branches symbolize restoration, renewal, and hope after suffering. That's who Hadassah was. That's who she is. She was a Jewish girl, orphaned young, raised by her cousin Mordecai during the Babylonian exile. Her people were scattered, driven from their homeland, not by their own failure, but by unfaithful leaders and circumstances beyond their control. They lived under foreign rule, navigating a culture that didn't fully see them or honor their faith. They existed in the margins, where staying quiet often felt safer than being seen. And yet, even in their scattering, God had made a promise. I myself will search for my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered. When young women were gathered into the palace for the king, Hadassah was among them. Not necessarily by choice, but by circumstance. And here's what Scripture tells us. She didn't reveal her identity. Not out of deceit, out of survival. She learned the customs. She followed the protocols. She became who she needed to be to stay safe in a world that might not have protected her if they'd known the truth. She adapted. She quieted herself. She played the part. Not because she lacked faith, but because she had learned, as so many women do, that silence was safer than truth. But like the myrtle tree she was named for, she was still there, still fragrant, still alive, still resilient, even when no one could see it. And then came the moment of choice. Her people were in danger, and Mordecai sent word. Who knows whether you've come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther had to decide. Stay hidden and stay safe, or risk being seen. And she chose to be seen, even though it terrified her. even though it could cost her everything. She said, "If I perish, I perish." She wasn't ready. She wasn't fearless, but she was willing. And that willingness changed everything. The woman I talk to in every episode carries the same story. She may not know it yet. She may not have language for it, but somewhere deep inside, she is Hadassah, the one who learned to hide in order to survive. And like her ancient namesake, she's part of a scattered flock, spiritually displaced, not sure where home is anymore, longing to be gathered back to something safe and true. Let me tell you about her. She grew up in church her whole life. Sabbaths, midweek services, youth group, summer camps. And so much of it was beautiful. When she was little, she felt genuinely close to God, like He was real and present and safe. She sang in the children's choir and actually felt joy. She talked to Him like a friend. She had real community, real belonging, real moments where faith felt alive. And here's the thing about her. She still loves God, deeply, fiercely. That's never been the problem. But as she got older, she started noticing things. Not that everything was wrong. That's what made it so confusing. There was still so much that was true and good and real. But woven into that beauty, she started to see something else. She noticed the God they described didn't always match how the people acted. They talked about a God of unconditional love, but everything in that environment felt conditional. They preached about grace, but there was so much judgment. They described a God who welcomes everyone, but certain people were clearly on the outside. They taught that God never forces or controls, but some of the leaders seemed to crave control. They said God honors free will, but questioning anything meant you were rebellious. They spoke of a gentle shepherd, but at times the atmosphere was thick with fear, guilt, and shame. She wasn't trying to rebel. She was paying attention. And what she saw created a quiet crisis in her. Not because it was all false, because the true and the false were so tangled together, she couldn't tell which was which anymore. The God she'd experienced as a little girl, that real tender presence, got mixed up with something that didn't feel like Him at all. Something inside her knew, this doesn't add up. So she did what any faithful woman would do. She tried harder. Maybe if she just believed more, served more, submitted more, it would make sense. She followed the rules. She silenced her questions. She pushed down her instincts. She smiled when she was dying inside. And it broke her. Not dramatically, quietly. Something inside her cracked under the weight of trying to be perfect, trying to earn love that she now wonders was supposed to be free all along. But she couldn't just walk away, because it wasn't all bad. And that's exactly what made it so hard. If it had all been darkness, she could have left. But there was real light too, real truth, real love from some people, real moments with God that she knew were genuine. So she stayed, trying to hold the beauty and the pain in the same hands, not knowing how to separate them. And that's where she still is today. She's still in church, most weeks anyway, still going through the motions, but she feels spiritually homeless, surrounded by people, yet achingly alone. She can't be fully honest with anyone. She carries questions she's afraid to ask, doubts she's afraid to voice, anger she's been told isn't godly, grief for what faith was supposed to be, but never quite was. And sometimes, late at night, when no one is watching, she whispers a prayer, a real one, not the scripted kind, the raw kind. God, I know you're real. I felt you when I was little. I know that was true. But somewhere along the way, you got mixed up with things that don't feel like you. And I don't know how to find my way back. I'm so tired of pretending. I just want what's real, without everything that hurt. That's Hadassah. She's tired. She's confused. She's carrying wounds that religion inflicted and then told her were her fault. And it doesn't just stay secretly in her heart. It shows up everywhere. She second-guesses every decision, convinced she can't trust herself. She feels invisible, even in her own home, like no one really sees her. She can't rest without guilt, can't receive a compliment without deflecting it. She doesn't feel like she belongs anywhere. Too much for some people, not enough for others. She's afraid to want things for herself, because wanting has always felt dangerous. She stays small to stay safe, and she's exhausted from the hiding. But underneath all of that, she's still here. Like the myrtle tree, she's survived the drought. She's weathered the damage, and somehow, against all odds, she's still standing, still fragrant, still beautiful, even if she can't see it yet. Her love for God never died. It just got buried under all the distortion. And now she's searching, not running away from faith, but digging through the rubble to find what's real. And that little girl who sang in the choir, who talked to God like a friend, who felt real joy in his presence before the fear crept in, she's still in there. And the experiences she's had with God were real, and she longs to come home. This is who I've been talking about in every single episode. When I share about the hidden barriers, I'm thinking of her. When I talk about the path home, I'm describing her journey. When I say you're not broken, I'm saying it to her. And now I'm saying it to you. Because if you heard yourself in what I just described, if something in your chest tightened or your eyes filled with tears, you're not crazy. You're not rebellious. You're not too much or too broken or too far gone. You're Hadassah. And those questions you've been carrying, the ones that you thought made you a bad Christian, they didn't make you faithless. They make you discerning. Your soul was picking up on something real. The confusion you felt, the sense that truth and something else were all tangled together, that wasn't weakness. That was wisdom. You weren't losing your faith. You were protecting it. I see you. I see the exhaustion behind your smile. I see how hard you've been trying. I see how alone you've been feeling. And I see a woman who still loves God so deeply it hurts. Who isn't running away from Him, but toward Him. Searching for the real Him underneath everything that got piled on top. You're part of the scattered flock. And God isn't angry at you for being scattered and feeling lost. He's grieved at what was done to you in His name, and He's already searching for you. So let me tell you what I know. There's a path home. Not back to the religion that hurt you, but not throwing away everything either. The path home is learning to untangle what was true from what was distorted, and finally being free to keep the real while releasing what was never from God in the first place. You don't have to stay hidden forever. Like Esther, you get to choose. And choosing to be seen, even when it's terrifying, is the beginning of everything. So if you're sitting there thinking, she's describing my life, I have something for you. I created a free assessment specifically for women like you. It's called the Religious Trauma Quiz, and it will help you see exactly which hidden barriers have been running your life. You'll answer a series of questions and get a personalized report showing which patterns are most active, with actual percentages, so you know where to focus. Head to religionstraumaquiz.com. It's free, it takes just a few minutes, and it might be the first time you've ever felt truly seen. And if you're ready to walk the full path home, to actually heal, not just understand, the Coming Home journey is open. Go to thecominghomejourney.com to learn more. Thank you for being here, for letting me introduce you to Hadassah, for being brave enough to see yourself in her story. This is the Hadassah Files. More episodes are coming, and every single one is for you. Until next time, friend, I see you, and I'm glad you're here.